Hi there. So today I'm gonna be making a crab boil. First, you have to clean your meat. I clean the meat and then I cut up the potatoes, and the lemon with the sausage and shrimp. I also clean up the corn. On the side are the onions. Right there, what I'm doing now, I'm cutting up the garlic. Put it in a little bowl, and after that, I'll boil the water. So here are the seasonings. So I have the Creole seasoning. I have paprika, lemon pepper, Old Bay, cloves, along with cayenne pepper, Cajun seasoning. For starters, I'm going to be putting enough Creole seasoning in the boiling water, in hot water that hasn't started boiling yet. And then I'm gonna take, there's two kinds. There's traditional, one spicy and one is not. So I picked the traditional one. I picked the spicy one because I like my food hot. Put it in the boiling water. That's my personal seasoning that I use on everything. So it's really good. You don't have to put that one. After the water boils, you can just put certain things first. So I put the corn because I would like the corn to be moist and marinated. Put the corn in there along with the sausage. You belong there. Go there. So yeah, just put that in there, let it boil for like 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, make sure it's well stirred up. Add the onions. That's the garlic. Now we add the lemon. After that, I'm gonna be adding the tomato. I'm not the tomato, the potato. The hardest of the bunch. Now it's time for the crabs to go in. Oh, you know what we need? Adding the shrimp. I put the shrimp last only because it was partially cooked when I bought it. So once I put in there for like 8-10 minutes. Usually shrimp takes like 8 minutes to cook. But I'm just gonna keep it in there just a little bit longer, just to be more, make sure it's well done. Let that sit in there. And the main purpose of this boil that I learned is that you want everything to marinate. Now it's been more than 10 minutes. Everything's cooked. Overall, I think it took about 15-20 minutes in there. The corn's well marinated. The crabs is cooked. Everything's good. So I'm just gonna empty it into a bowl. I don't have a sifter to make sure you just throw it in there and let the water comes out of it. So I'm just gonna do it this way. If you have those things, you're good. That's fine. I need it. Now I'm doing a seasoning. I didn't measure it with like a teaspoon, but I knew exactly how much I wanted. If you want to do it, a teaspoon would be good for people who like to measure things. I like to cook, and I think I'm more of a visual person, so I can tell how much I want and what I want in my food and how much is it and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to be using the lid, one of the seasoning lids, to measure everything, just to put all the seasoning together. Nope, wrong lid.
It's in the video.
There you go.
It's okay.
Also, I'm a
Yeah,
big
you can use it.
fan of tasting as you go. So I probably this part won't be shown in the video, but every time you're cooking something, just taste as you go. I mean, some people do this, some people don't. When you taste as you go, you can see how much you need. For the Creole seasoning, because I knew I already put enough of it in the boil, I didn't want to put too much, but I put just enough to make sure that everything was well done. Just make sure that's in there. Well,
Why are you doing that?
I think I'm putting more. Either paprika or cayenne pepper. Anyways, whichever one is spicier, I'm putting more in there because I like my food spicy. If you don't want your food spicy, don't do this.
Come on, personal season.
After this, along with this, I was cooking pepper crabs, which is more of a traditional food for us. This is my favorite seasoning, my personal seasoning that I'm putting there. Just for the record, my personal seasoning is a mixture of pepper. The traditional seasoning in Africa is called chicken soup, which is good. So as you can see, my stove got dirty because I was cooking other stuff. So that's 2 sticks of butter, unsalted butter. Make sure it's well melted.
What's too hot?
I don't know.
The stove?
Mhm.
It's fine.
What do you want to do? You go talk?
For what?
Whatever you're about to do.
Now I'm just going to put the seasoning in there. Make sure everything is well seasoned. Next, what I'm putting in there is the garlic and an onion from the crab boil that I blended together in the blender. Now, as you can see, everything didn't blend as well, but that's okay. I put it in there, let it cook for a little bit. The garlic and onions, they're already cooked, but just for the purposes of making sure everything's well cooked together along with the seasoning, it's in there. And I'm just gonna let it cook for like 5-10 minutes.
You need help.
I think this is where you put that sauce. Not that it's enough. Just reminding you that it's small.
What?
You still think it's alright?
No, I don't want to use that.
Yeah.
It's gonna, I don't know, it's too small fresh.
That's what I'm saying. It's at the end. All you gotta do is heat it up. When you put it in the oven, you mix it, you put the seasoning on there.
Now I'm putting
Put it in the oven.
the water. This liquid I'm putting in there is from the crab boil. Just put a little bit, not too much in there. I wish I had measured it, but I didn't. Like I said, I really cook with my eyes. I don't measure things. That's more when I bake. That's really when I measure things. But for this one, I just put it in there, measuring it with my eyes. As you can see, it looks fine. It looks great. Now I'm just gonna let it cook till the water dries out. And after that's done, that will be my sauce. I will just take it, put it over my crab boil. The crab boil looks plain in the camera, but for some reason in person it was more moist and you could see the seasoning. So now I'm just going with my sauce, putting it on top of it, making sure everything's nicely cooked. After this, I let it sit in the oven for about 5 minutes. Please don't let it sit too much, because what happens is all that moist just goes away. And put your liquid, your sauce on that. Put in the oven for a little bit, and you're ready to go. It's really easy. I have fun doing this. I live in Cedar Rapids, so I kind of had to drive around the city to find all those seasonings. Personally, you don't need all those seasonings if you have a certain taste or a certain way that you like something. But because it was my first time, so I wanted to make sure I have everything down, I probably have a better idea how I want it. So I'll have an updated video to tell you which seasoning was better, which one wasn't. This is my finished touches. I had this with my fiance. Thank you so much for helping me, my love. We did it together. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy.